Hello there, and welcome back to the top 50 tracks of all time. We're on the cusp. We're almost there. We're almost on the big 10. Because today, now that you've got me back, we're going to be looking at number 12. Number 12 is doing something a little bit different than a few of those around it, which is it's a mover upwards. And this one has actually followed the exact same pattern over the last 20 years. Because in 2010, in 2000, at my 30th top 30 tracks of all time, it was number 24. Which meant then that 10 years later, it had moved up 6 places to number 18. And this year, it's moved up a further 6 places to number 12. So it's jumped a total of 12 places over the last 20 years. Also significant, it's from this album, and something that my guest presenters haven't mentioned, because I probably didn't tell them to, is that this is now the third track, which is actually is the second from the same album. The first of those were number 20 and number 16, Purity and The Blind Man from Scenes from the Second Story. And then we had Lamb Chop, who started off lower down with My Blue Wave, and then have just come in with The Old Matchbook Trick, both from the album Is a Woman. And at number 21 we had 1979 from this album. And now we are going to be listening to In the Arms of Sleep from the same album. Curiosity now is they are both from... Are they both from the second CD? I can't find. Yes, they are. In fact, they're after each other. So on the second CD, which is called Twilight to Starlight, track 4 is In the Arms of Sleep and track 5 is 1979. So that's a pretty impressive double bill there. Why the reason I mention this is obviously for me it's there's several artists that feature, as we already know. Depeche Mode and New Order have both featured 4 times, but as yet haven't had anything from the same album. Whereas this gives you a little clue of where my great albums lie, in the fact that if you can get two tracks in the top 20 from the same or thereabouts, like I said, 1979 was 21, so we're just outside, but talking about Melancholy and Scenes from the Second Story, to have 2 tracks from the same album so high up in a top 50 of all time means I obviously have a lot of love for the album, and this is an album I have a lot of love for, as I mentioned when I presented 1979, so I won't go as much into that. This song strays slightly from the relationship breakup idea, a huge theme. When we get to number 11, I think I'll give you all the facts about those relationship breakups and where they feature, and how many they feature. But this one it can be looked at kind of dark, because Billy Corgan keeps mentioning the lines "I need you tonight," and at first you think, well, that's a positive, I need you, but it becomes a bit repetitive in the way that you think maybe he's going a bit overboard there. It's not a normal obsession with a partner. I actually see it more. I'm more optimistic about it. This track, even though there's actually a song about a stalker on this album that comes up a little bit later, so it could be the prelude to that. But I'm kind of still trying to see it in the optimistic. It's that desire. He even uses that word, "suffer my desire for you." which is just basically saying I've got so much desire for you, and you're basically just going to have to live with it. And I think one of the reasons why it's jumped every 10 years, every decade for the last 2 decades, is because of how I feel about Athena. And the fact that I just feel like, you know, we as a partnership are getting stronger, and I feel like I love her more now than I did 20 years ago. So it's like my saying, you know, you're just gonna have to live with it. And the plus side is, I can, you know, there's been at least a couple of tracks so far on this chart that Tina's actually sat with us when we've done the family play of the video before, of actually covering her ears with her hands, and quite a lot of Smashes tracks get her doing that. But this would probably be, you know, she doesn't do top charts, but if we were to say, you know, remember all that you've listened to, Athena, go for your top 3 Smashes tracks. This would probably, my guess is this would probably be number 1, but it would at least be in the top 3. And it's due to the fact that it is a very sort of mellow song. It's got a very beautiful melody. The tune goes really well. I find it quite sensual as well as a track. It pushes all the right buttons basically, and like I said, is a nice sort of break from this relationship breakup theme that I like to hang up on, and not just the relationship breakup, but the actual melancholy mood. That, you know, the fact that this album's actually called Melancholy, but this one steers away from it. You know, even going back to Keaton Henson, which was presented not so long ago, that's a very sort of negative, melancholic track, and there's no lyrics in that whatsoever. So it is a theme of mine. I do like it. I've said earlier on, I think some of the best music ever made falls into that category. But, you know, every now and then you need a little breakout, and I think this one does it. It's on the cusp of the 10. It's the highest it's ever been. I would not be surprised when I sit here doing my top 60 of all time. I would not be surprised to see it nudge up 1 or 2 places. It almost feels like it deserves a top 10 place. Problem is, then I think about what's going to be presented tomorrow or in 2 days, and I think it's not as good as that one. And obviously when I listen to that one, I'm going to think that's not as good as number 10. So I feel like now it's in the right place. But obviously we've got 10 years to go yet before that 60 gets released. So who can say? Keep your ears and eyes out for this. But if you haven't heard this, you're in for such a treat. And if you have, I'm pretty sure you know how good it is. Either way, pop it on now. It's an order. Guest presenter tomorrow, so we're not done with them yet. The last of the guest presenters. There's no way anybody's getting their hands on my top 10. So I will be presenting the whole of the top 10. So tomorrow is your last chance to see one of the guest presenters. And there's a little surprise in that one as well. So wait and see. Okay, enjoy. Speak to you soon.